Welcome to BW Healthcare World's Thursday Thought Leaders. My guest today is Mr. Nikhil Chopra, who's the CEO and the whole-time director at JB Pharma. He joined the company in 2020 after working for over 2 decades with Cipla, where he started as an MR, but his last assignment was that of being the CEO for India business. He has the reputation of being consistent contributor to the growth of the pharma industry in India. Let's speak to Mr. Chopra about his vision for JB Pharma. What does he think about the R&D in India, and what can we expect from JB Pharma in the next 1 year? Welcome to BW Healthcare World, Mr. Chopra. It's such a pleasure to have you with us today. Let me begin with a basic question that, pharma industry has had an upward trajectory. India is now being considered as a pharma hub of the world. And could you share with us what is your take on where does the industry stand today, Indian pharmaceutical industry stand today when you compare it to the world, if you could share some numbers, etc. And also, what is your view? Where are we headed from here?
So first of all, thank you, Mr. Harbinder, for having me today with you, and it is my pleasure to interact with you. See, overall, if you look at the healthcare industry, I have spent a couple of decades in Indian healthcare industry, and today it is valued. What we sell in India, what we manufacture and what we sell in India is close to around $25 billion, which is growing at around 9 to 11%. That is what is the range of growth, and equally, what we manufacture and export is also close to $25 billion. So we are talking about $50 billion medicines which are manufactured. And this figure by 2030 is expected to be $130 billion. But I think the way we are growing and the way demand is there of quality Indian medicines which are manufactured, and what you earlier shared that India today is the pharmaceutical hub in terms of what we are known as, I think we'll be achieving much more newer heights in the coming time. Overall, the way I see industry panning up pre-COVID, post-COVID, and today what is happening overall in the market. Let me first focus on what is happening in Indian pharmaceutical market. Out of $25 billion market, 60% of the portfolio is acute centric, means it is seasonal dependent, which may be antibiotic, cough, cold, whatever you see, and 40% is chronic. I think over a period of and chronic part of the business is growing at a healthy double digit, and acute part of the business of the portfolio across for all the companies is around mid to low single digit. Now it is seasonal variant if you look at. But one thing specific has happened post COVID. I think particularly for chronic part of the disease where the burden of disease is so high, maybe cardiometabolic, maybe neurological disorders, urological disorders. Within ophthalmology, glaucoma, so there are ample, and the burden of disease is so high. I think the awareness in the consumer has come in a big way. The adherence to the medication, which was always an issue, because in my previous company, a lot of effort has been put, and today also in JB, what we are trying to do is to drive better adherence. Once a patient is diagnosed in the clinic of healthcare professional, what are the steps that should be taken where the adherence is better and patient can live a better quality of life. So that is what I have seen, particularly in cardiometabolic, particularly lung disorders, in urological disorders. The adherence is going to be key because people are concerned now about their immunity. They are looking at how I can sustain my immunity, which will help me in terms of not falling the victim, in terms of whatever chronic ailment I'm suffering, that I can live a better quality of life. This is what is my perspective, and chronic medic and more and more awareness, more and more adherence, more and more point of care diagnosis. That is going to be key, and which is I think coming in a big way in terms of how patients who are suffering the ailment is diagnosed with ease is going to be key. And the mantra always remains affordable quality medicines at affordable price. That is what has worked for India, and that is what will work for India. And huge opportunity, huge volume growth which can come, particularly in chronic part of the portfolio, And acute is seasonal dependent. I'm not running away from acute part of the business, because there also, when you see there are seasonal uptrends, there are viral uptakes. There also the consumptions of medicines, it just spurs up. That is overall my understanding in terms of where we are. Healthy, low double-digit growth of $25 billion. You can double the business in next 5 years.
Got it. And Mr. Chopra, you have been using this term called beyond the pill as your
Yes.
philosophy. And as a pharma leader, what do you mean by this, and how has the pharmaceutical industry gone beyond the regular business of selling medicines?
So if you look at, and here also once again I will bring into the account and discussion the way chronic ailments should be looked at, looking at building the ecosystem in the environment. When a patient is suffering from lung disease or a patient is suffering from cardiometabolic, let me give you an example of cardiometabolic disease, because in JB we play a pivotal role in this ailment. One of the franchisee in the world of hypertension today is close to 500 crore for us. Now, once you have that critical mass, you look at what can you do directly with the consumer with the consent of healthcare professional. Let me give you a simple example of blood pressure. We may take it with ease that people are suffering from blood pressure and the magic number is 120 and 80. But when a patient is prescribed antihypertensive medication and patient continues to take the medication at the right time, at some given time, if they miss or they don't adhere to the medication, the BP, the blood pressure start fluctuating. And the patient, once in 3 months or 6 months, will go and meet the doctor. So he's monitoring his blood pressure every day in and out at his home. Now, there are ample number of mistakes the patient makes in terms of how the blood pressure has to be monitored, at what interval it has to be monitored, what records have to be kept. So we have launched a campaign called BP Right Karo. It's an English word. Blood pressure right karo means adhere to medication, control your blood pressure. Monitor your blood pressure with these simple steps. So why I'm giving you this example, that you have to go beyond the pill. You have to look at how do you improve, and this is a digital campaign which we have launched in terms of, and equally, because in India, my view, no pharmaceutical company should do anything with the consumer without the consent of the healthcare professional. That is what I've been doing in my previous organization, and here also, with the right consent of the healthcare professional, we have been running this consumer campaign. Not a big hit, but it was a small attempt from our side in terms of how we can take care of patients who are taking antihypertensive medications, what mistakes they make, how we can touch base with them, how overall improvements can happen from where we stand. The burden of disease is big. 100 million patients suffer from blood pressure, and 1 in 4 patients is undiagnosed patients who are roaming around. So they may suffer from uncontrolled hypertension, which can lead to end organ damage. So as a responsible pharmaceutical company, we have launched this campaign. So this is a classic example, and there are n number of campaigns which I could launch in my previous company. Second classic example is we have gone and we have launched a concept called heart failure clinics. Now there's a pill which we have acquired from Novartis. The product has gone off patent. The product globally is called Entresto. It's a $4 billion product, basically for heart failure, combination of sacubitril and valsartan. India, Novartis could partner with 2-3 companies. We are fortunate enough to sign the contract with them, and we could get the product, and our product is called Azmada. So we run close to 200 plus heart failure clinics in the country. Now, what are we trying to do? We are trying to create awareness. We are trying to improve the footfall of patients in the clinic of doctor in the early stage of patient when they are suffering. Uncontrolled hypertension for a long time can lead to heart failure. The heart failure is not a sudden, heart failure is not heart attack. Heart failure is progressively, your blood pressure is not under control, and heart becomes the secondary organ where you can see the damage happening. But that damage, if it progresses in a rapid way, then patient comes in stage 3 and stage 4. The quality of deteriorates like anything. Now, simple thing can be wait and watch when the patient lands in the clinic of doctor. Doctor will diagnose with the help of 2D and 3D echo, and patient will get the heart failure pill. By the way, we were the first to reduce the price by 50%. post the patent expiry. That is what initiative we could take. Today, the cost of therapy is around, I was just talking in the afternoon to my colleagues, the cost of therapy is around 30,000 rupees a year, which was around 60,000 rupees a year. So, beside now just promoting the product, where we have 200 people today who are promoting this concept in the clinic of doctors, we also have initiated 200 plus heart failure clinics, where we are looking at creating awareness in the environment. If these are the symptoms which you are suffering, which are consistent, do visit to these clinics, where you will be facilitated with the help of what I've called earlier point of care diagnosis. So your 2D and 3D echo, which will be done not going in the hospital, but we will bring that 2D and 3D echo diagnosis done in the heart failure clinic, in the clinic of doctor. These all things we try to do in terms of what we are trying to look at in terms of going beyond the pill. So there are n number of examples which Harbinder I can give, but this is needed today in the country. My previous company, Cipla, is doing a fantastic job in the era of respiratory, where we have where Cipla has 70% market share. Lot of awareness. By the way, today is World Asthma Day. Lot of awareness we want to bring in the community, that lung diseases should not be taken for granted. As people look at lung diseases tomorrow, do progress as age progresses, but no, you can live a good quality of life if you're diagnosed earlier, if you're taking your medications, particularly the right medications in terms of inhalers, preventive medication. So many initiatives across companies are doing. And this classical example which I could give, because we are not a big company, for we at JB are a dominant player in the world of hypertension. Today, what we are trying to do in the world of heart failure. Somewhere we'll see what more consumer-centric campaign with the concept of healthcare professionals we can do, and look at what I call building the ecosystem and going beyond the pill.
What have been the key milestones that have been achieved?
Just to share with you what we are trying to do at JB. We are a dominant player in the world of cardiometabolic. We have a big franchisee called Cilacar, which is cilnidipine, which is a renal safe antihypertensive, which today is close to 500 crore franchisee. We enjoy 50% market share in this entire market of cilnidipine. We also have a product called nifedipine, Nicardia, where we have got Nicardia 30, 60, and Nicardia XL, where we enjoy 90% market share. Now, Nicardia as a product is a potent antihypertensive product, which is a drug of choice for uncontrolled hypertension. So that also product we have. These are our organic brands that we have built in the area of cardiology, particularly in hypertension. We could acquire this pill called Azmara from Novartis, which I shared earlier, in the area of heart failure. And recently, 6 months ago, we did an acquisition and we could acquire a brand called Razel, which is a lipid-lowering agent, rosuvastatin from Glenmark, which is a 60 crore brand that we could acquire. So in 2020, we were 13th player in the area of cardiology. We were covering 40% of cardiology market, which is today close to 25 to 30,000 crore. In 2 years, from 13th rank company, today we are 8th rank company in cardiology. And we cover 90% of market with the range of products that we have got in cardiology. And we are the fastest growing company in cardiology. And we want to be in top 5. That is what aspiration we have kept, by creating more awareness, by influencing the ecosystem, by launching some consumer-centric campaigns. That is what we want to do. Beside cardiometabolic, we also are a dominant player in the area of pediatrics. We have got a good range of products, which is a combination of our Rentex syrup, which is for GI disorders in pediatric patients. We are in the area of probiotics. We are in the area of cough syrup. We are in the area of Lexolites. We are in the area of overall looking at zinc supplements. So there are ample number of products that we have launched in the area of pediatrics, and we enjoy very good equity with 25 to 30,000 pediatricians in the country. That is where we are. Beside this, our traditional products are there, which are in the area of GI, that is ranitidine, Rantec, and Metrogyl. Metrogyl is a big product for us, where we enjoy 90% market share. It's a antibiotic. That is where we are. That is where we stand. So we are a dominant player in the area of cardiometabolic, particularly cardiology. No, metabolic, we have still a big way to go. Pediatrics, respiratory, we have launched some products, not that, and we are not into inhalation. We are more into respiratory with anti-allergics, with mucolytics, with nebulization range, with antivirals. That is what we have launched, and we are happy with what we have done in the area of respiratory. That is where we stand.
Got it. And Mr. Chopra, you spoke about reducing the price of certain products by almost 50%.
Yeah.
As a business leader, we have a responsibility towards stakeholders, etc. But in the business of healthcare, uh, profitability and affordability both need to be balanced in some way. Uh, in the pharma industry, uh, what are the key indicators from the perspective of growth? Since you are a PE-driven organization, and as a pharma company, how do you ensure this balance? Because I personally believe that there are three pillars in healthcare. One is the quality, second is the accessibility, and third is affordability. So anything that we do has to touch these three pillars. So what is your perspective?
So I am very clear what I told earlier. Quality medicines at affordable price and accessibility, what you told, is the part of the entire supply chain and the distribution work which happens in the country. We have got close to 3,000 distributors across the country. That is where we stand. And wherever possible, what initiative we could take is to reduce the price. And I was giving you an example of what we could do with this heart failure pill, where we see the cost of therapy is too high. It is 50 to 60,000 rupees a year, which many of the patients will not be able to afford. So whenever we get chance and looking at tomorrow, because there are potential 10 to 12 million patients who are potential sufferers of heart failure, and hardly 10 to 15% are taking the treatment. It tells you diagnosis is costlier, medication cost is costlier. So why not to at least improve overall accessibility and the product which comes at a quality standard, and why can't we make it more affordable? That is what. And I'm a big fan of volume growth. Huge opportunity in terms of how we can serve more and more number of patients in the country with the portfolio which we have widened, and our offerings are there. So overall, India being a 1.3, 1.4 billion people population, I think still the reach, and it is not that because I'm talking of reach, so I want to double my medical reps in the country. I've got 2,000 medical reps and we cover close to 300,000 doctors in the country. Huge scope in terms of what we can drive in terms of when our people carry our products, detail in the clinic of doctors, partnership with the medical fraternity, looking at the initiatives that we want to put, whether it is in the area of heart failure, putting up the clinics, consumer campaigns for hypertension, looking at how we can partner with some of the societies. For example, we could partner with the Cardiology Society of the country to put guidelines to prevent the progression of uncontrolled hypertension to heart failure. That is how we could work with them closely to put the guidelines, so at least the knowledge is disseminated. Equally, we are closely working with Indian Academy of Pediatrics. We are working with the Chess Society. So lot many of those initiatives which we take in terms of how at least quality medicines, affordable price, partnership with the healthcare professional, looking at tomorrow how the accessibility is there across the country, and more patients get the benefit of quality medicine, which are at least coming from the house of JB. That is what I can talk on the behalf of our company.
Yes. And Mr. Chopra, there have been some incidents in the past where the ill effects of medicines have come to light. And largely this has been found because of non-compliance of the standards. Because there's an opportunity, all kinds of players have entered the market. How do you think this problem can be curtailed in the long run? How can the standardization norms be strengthened and further regulated in India? And this is important because we have the fastest growing pharma manufacturing base for the world.
Yeah. I think both our regulatory bodies in the country, if you look at DCGI and you look at CDSO, I think they are much more capable and they are doing a fantastic job according to me. Yeah, they conceptually are on their toes in the market, look at all the samples of many of the products. They pick up those products and do the testing, and equally the results go to the pharmaceutical companies. So I think more and more this is going to happen, which will only improve the quality of the medicines which are manufactured in India, sold in India, sold outside India. So overall, I think the attention that healthcare industry is today getting, and overall what regulatory and quality norms the government is putting today, I think it will over a period of time only help in terms of whatever incidents were reported, and this is going to happen. It is not that tomorrow it is everything is right, but eventually I think our bodies are capable enough, and you could see as a classical example during the time of COVID, we exported our vaccines to more than 200 countries. Which country could do that? So there are incidents like one or two incidents like this which have happened. So I think in some parts of sub-Saharan Africa, where cough syrups, there were medicines which were substandard, but equally there are classic. This is an example where we could export to 200 countries COVID vaccines, and I think there are good companies in the country who are responsible in terms of the medicines that they manufacture. Ultimately, you are into this business because you want to see smiling faces of the patients who consume the medicines that you make. That is what I can say.
Got it. And Mr. Chopra, when we look at the pharma industry in India and the growth that we have seen, there's a huge manufacturing surge that has happened. But at the same time, there has been very little R&D efforts in the past. Is that changing? And what is the change that we are looking at, or is what is expected? And what is it that JB Pharma is going to be doing in times to come when it comes to R&D efforts?
So when you look at R&D in India as compared to R&D, when you look at, so there are two types of R&D. One R&D that you do is some of the big players who are doing of complex generic product 505(b)(2) products that they manufacture and what they export to US. So that is a different type of R&D. One R&D is what we call is incremental innovation in terms of improving the drug delivery, in terms of whether it is orally disintegrated tablet, Oros tablet, extended release tablet, modified release tablet, patches, lozenges. These are all novel delivery, single unit liquid, throat spray. So these are different technologies where there's an ease of taking medicine. So I think more and more what you see in India is incremental innovation, because there are companies who are spending 6 to 8% in R&D. At JB, we are very clear what we want to do, what we have done. Giving you classical example, when I was talking of Nicardia nifedipine, we had traditional nifedipine, 30 milligram, 60 milligram. We have got Nicardia XL, which is extended release nifedipine once a day, improves quality of, improves overall adherence in terms of patient taking 3 tablets a day. Today, patient is to take 1 tablet a day. We have got Metrogil, Metrogil 200, Metrogil 400 milligram. Now the dosage of Metrogil, metronidazole, is 1200 milligram a day. We could develop Metrogil 600 ER, extended release, 2 tablets a day for mixed infections. That is what we could do. So many of those, by the way, we have got Oros technology in terms of some of the ANDAs that we own in US, where we call ourselves as champion in that, because we have got tablets which are laser drill. Because of that, the drug release is over 24 hours, once a day. One of the products that we export, where we occupy 40% of market share, is glipizide, which is one of the big product, 100 crore plus product for us, where we use this technology. There are other products also where we are using this technology. Over and above this, also what we do in the world of R&D is novel drug delivery, which I wanted to talk about, is in the world of lozenges. We are the 5th largest manufacturer of lozenges globally. We work with some of the big players called Procter & Gamble, Reckitt, Innova, J&J, where we manufacture lozenges like Vicks Acta, Vicks Immune, Strepsils, Deflam. All these products come from the house of JB. And within lozenges, there are products which are called powder-filled lozenges, liquid-filled lozenges, menthol burst lozenges. So there are technologies which we have developed over a period of time in terms of where we continue to do innovation. That is R&D for us. Our R&D spends are hardly 2-3%, which is not big. And we continue to file around 4 to 5 ANDAs every year in US. We develop the product with reference product in standard, maintaining the standard product. And also we would be filing around 12 to 15 products in our ROW market. So this is R&D for us. But there are companies who are spending 6 to 8%, but for them, the R&D is big because they want to be into specialized business in the world of US, which every company will have different ways and means of in tomorrow. How do they see opportunity where? India, if you look at R&D, what is happening in US and multinationals, that is called NCE, new chemical entity. Hardly you will see NCE in India. Because if you develop 10 NCEs, the cost is humongous and one will succeed. That is where R&D comes in India. So I think more and more companies have identified their therapeutic segments where they would like to at least do incremental innovation in drug delivery and look at what type of complex generic product that they would like to launch in India, and whatever we can do in India in terms of driving better patient compliance by innovative ways of drug delivery.
So to move from incremental R&D or innovation to the R&D for new chemicals and new product developments, what is it that is needed to bring that change in India? What is the expectation from the policymakers, regulatory bodies? What is the industry's expectation?
I don't think we will get into that. That is my view. It is my view that I don't think we'll get into that, because what is happening today in India, that these patented products, which many of the multinationals have launched in India, many of the Indian, and they will have their restricted way of marketing and distributing those products in India. I'm talking of multinationals. So what is happening? Those multinationals are tying up with many of the Indian companies to make the products available and reach and detail in the clinic of doctors. I think that is a midway where I think things have evolved. In terms of what are the companies expecting? I think companies are expecting, I think what government is expecting from the companies, and I think before getting into R&D, I think the fundamental issues have to be resolved, that India should be self-reliant in making basic intermediates of API, metformin, paracetamol, doxycycline. Let us resolve that basic problem, which are basic drugs, and 70 to 80 country are still deprived of these basic molecules. What are we talking of R&D and new development of drugs? Because these are the basic molecules. And if you look at one thing, Mr. Harbinder, when you look at IMS, and when I'm talking of $25 billion market, the growth which is coming from existing products where the volumes are going up. Not that new products are coming and making a wave. So I think India is still in an evolving stage where basic healthcare needs in looking at how privatization can happen in terms of setting up hospitals, primary healthcare centers, or what you are talking about in rural part of the country, in the villages of Bengal and Bihars and UPs of this world, which also is India. We talk of India, which is 10 metros, but that part of the India is beyond this discussion. Correct. So I think that basic things has to happen between the government and the pharmaceutical company. I think government has put a lot of initiatives. There's a full API park which is coming in some part of Gujarat, where I think the basic needs of starting intermediates for these basic molecules will be developed in India. And then you see in terms of the scale up which can happen. This will give encouragement to companies who are into chemical business, companies who are into API business. All this will flourish over a period of time. This is my understanding. I'm talking of the way I have spent and the way I see the way things are happening in the country today.
Absolutely. And you use the term marketing and distribution. Now, you began your career in 1996 as an MR. Yeah. And now you are leading a pharma business. How do you think the way companies have created awareness, marketed their products, marketed their brands has evolved in the last 25 years? And I'm asking this question because technology has evolved and we have an opportunity to build efficiencies. Where do you think we have made a difference?
So the classical example which comes to my mind is the entire concept called STP, the entire segmentation, targeting, and positioning. If you look at big brands today, top 10 brands in the country, the volumes and the growths that they are bringing, whether it is a Dolo 650 or a Calpol or a Augmentin or a Lantus, let me give example of couple of brands from JB, Rentec and Metrogil. I think a lot of life cycle management which has happened in launching new SKUs, incremental innovation, improving the reach, positioning for right indication while doing life cycle management. I will give you a classical example. We have Silnidipine, Silacar, which is a big franchisee for us, which is a basic product for hypertension. It's a renal safe hypertension. We combined Silnidipine with Telmisartan. It's a drug of choice for diabetic hypertensive. So you're positioning this product, which today is a 120 crore brand. It is the fastest combination antihypertensive today growing in Indian pharmaceutical industry, Silacar T. So if you identify the strength of the combination molecule, and there are classical examples like this. I'm giving you one example. There will be hundreds of examples across companies. Then I think the sky is the limit in terms of where you are positioning your product. And if the product works wonders, you can continue to look at what more evolution and data inform more can come across, and tomorrow you can support that product in the right indication with the right doctor. And eventually, I think we have traveled a journey in terms of technology has come in terms of how congresses, seminars which were happening earlier, physical. It's a combination of both physical and digital. That is how things have happened in terms of how knowledge has to be disseminated. Today, sitting here, if you want to attend a European Respiratory Congress, you can register yourself, and 3 days you can get to know what is happening in the era of lung disease across the globe. That is how it has become so easy if you are interested to know, and this can happen in any therapeutic segments. Equally, today, a lot of automation is used in terms of how the detailing in the clinic of doctor can be digital. Today, all our 2,000 people in JB are equipped with iPads, which was not happening 2 years ago. This also in turn helps us in terms of how internally we are measuring the performance. We have a team of 50 people who are working in the area of Salesforce excellence and Salesforce automation in terms of how much time my medical rep is spending on which product in the clinic of doctor, that I can record. And that is how tomorrow things are detailed. And these are the things which are discussed. So internal discussions and reviews are also now pointed, are also now centric in terms of how tomorrow we can improve the quality time. There are 50 medical reps sitting in the clinic of doctor who want to visit and talk to the doctor. Now, if tomorrow doctor starts giving 2 minutes to everybody, he has to spend 100 minutes. Now, tomorrow nobody has that time. So whatever time you are getting in the clinic of doctor, make the best of that. And that is how the training to the medical rep, what he does in the clinic of doctor, how companies also discuss in terms of what strategies they are making. All those things, I think things have evolved. And still, I think we can do much more in this era, because our distribution today is not that regulated as compared to what happens in the western part of the world, where there are 3 big chains. Every information is available today. We have 800,000 pharmacies in the country. So who does what and what distribution happens? Still, I think digitization has happened in terms of now the distributors, they have given their people in terms of they have launched softwares, they have given iPads to their people who go and book orders. The medicine is reaching in now 24 hours. Today, you can get medicine in a couple of hours at your place. With e-pharmacy is now coming in. Lots have changed, but I think long way to go.
And Mr. Chopra, you have been talking about the vision of 2026 for JB Pharma.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, for that vision of 2026, in the last 2.5 years that you've been here, what all have you achieved, and what is your plan for the coming year at JB Pharma?
So we basically started, we were a 1,600 crore company in 2020. Our aspiration is we have kept some quantitative aspect in terms of where do we want to reach. We want to be a 5,000 crore company. Halfway, we are close to 3,200 crore company. Equally, we are making good, we are driving better efficiency in the way we operate. Our margins are good, close to 25% where we stand. Not getting into more quantitative part, but I think what over a period of time that we have built within 1 year of our journey at JB, we could launch our new identity. That is JB, Good People for Good Health. And the culture that we are driving in terms of which are centric towards simplicity, reliability, agility. Any work that we do is the culture that we want to drive at JB is to look at simplicity that we carry in our daily working, how we should be reliable, that what we are known for. Basically we have to be reliable as we are into healthcare sector, and we are responsible for quality medicines that we manufacture, both for the patients and the partners that we work more in the world of CDMO. an equally agile company in terms of how you can change with times. That is what we are trying to do. So we could launch our new logo, JB Good People for Good Health. And this is our culture, which is centric to simplicity, reliability, and agility. That is what we are trying to do. We have been able to bring uh, good talent in the company in last 2 years across sectors. People have joined us from pharmaceutical companies. Our R&D head has come from Torrent. Regulatory head has come from Sun. Our CFO has come from ExxonMobil. Our company secretary has come from Kirloskar Group, and these are people at the leadership level. There are different type of departments that we have set up in the company: portfolio, in licensing, supply chain. That is what we have strengthened in terms of what we are trying to do, rewards and recognition, L&D. So all those things have what we have achieved, and what we are trying to do is to look at how do we at least look at two parts of the business: India business, which is today contributing 54% overall revenue, and the business that we do in the world of CDMO, that is lozenges, which is close to $50 million, and India business is close to around $200 million, which is 54% is India and 12% is CDMO. These two businesses are contributing today are close to around 66%, which we are looking at in next 3 to 5 years. How do we make these two businesses major part, contributing 80% to overall our business? We have our home markets outside India, which is Russia and South Africa, where we have small businesses. Also, we have a small business in US, which is $30 million. We own 15 ANDAs. And we have a small business in ROW market, which is $40 million. This is the overall we are. I think it has been a good journey, but the best is yet to come in terms of what we want to achieve. Where we stand, 4 acquisitions we could do in last 1 year, where we could buy some assets and widen our offering. And these all acquisitions we have done in India. We have invested close to around $200 million. Organically, JB was not been known as a company which will launch new products and succeed in that. Our new product contribution was hardly 1.5%. Today, our new product contribution is close to 5%. Our new products are getting prescriptions in the clinic of doctors. Equally, when you look at productivity, we were close to 4 lakh rupees productivity. Today, our productivity per medical rep per month is close to 6.5 lakh rupees. So it has been a journey, a lot of process, a lot of systems that we have strengthened. Equally, the culture that we are trying to drive, starting from the top. This overall has been a journey, and from here, we want to look at what is the next leap forward, which we take by what we can do more in India, what we can do more in the world of CDMO business, which we do outside India, and some of the new launches that we can do in the world of ROW market.
And Nikhilji, AI and genomics is playing a big role in pharmaceutical sector. And how are you imbibing AI and genomics at JB Pharma?
Genomics, we are not doing anything. Let me be very frank. Obviously, we are using AI in terms of what you can project based on the information that you can get in terms of the distribution of your medicines across the country, in terms of the trends, in terms of seasonal variability, in terms of the demand which is there from some of the markets outside India, particularly with our partners. Just to give you an example, we were manufacturing around, we are the 5th largest manufacturer of lozenges globally. In 2021-22, we could manufacture and sell 600 million units of lozenges. Right. Last year, we have in 22-23, we have sold close to 1.1 billion units of lozenges. And the way we have used AI, and we are looking at the entire prevalence of cough and cold. And this, by the way, this business of lozenges is only happening outside India. So a lot of incidents of cough and cold post-COVID, particularly in Southeast Asia, and this distribution of lozenges is happening outside US and Europe in the entire globe, and not in India. US, Europe, India, you get out, and Southeast Asia, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, MENA countries, all the. So we are using all those type of markers, which will only help us to get to know in terms of how do you enhance your capacity. By the way, you have the capacity to manufacture 2.5 billion lozenges. And today we are selling 1.1 billion lozenges. So these are markers which we use in terms of distribution of goods in India, seasonal variability, your demand globally for your lozenges, overall closely working with your vendors in terms of what demand will come up in a big way for some of the intermediates which will be needed at the right time.
Let me come to your personal side, sir. how is it different working with a company which is driven by PE firms compared to your earlier role?
So earlier also, if I have to talk about there have been differences in the role. I started my career coming to head office. I was working with the promoter family. Then the entire dynamics changed in my previous company where the professional management came in. And now working here, we have independent. We have our chairman, Mr. Ranjit Sahni. We have a couple of independent board members, and we have a couple of folks from KKR who are coming from the private equity. So it all depends upon in terms of the entire equation or the relationship that you have with your promoters. And here there are a couple of folks who are there whom I closely work with the private equities guys. I generally like the way freedom to operate. Some of the decisions which have to be taken indecisions are more guilty as compared to taking wrong decisions. So I take 30 seconds to take decision where I get my colleagues from the private equity side into confidence and we move on things. Sometimes you may fail. So that is how at least I have succeeded, whatever success I have got in terms of taking quick decisions and moving on things, which overall helps you in terms of not sitting on things which conceptually people are also awaiting that tomorrow how things will move. So it is not that tomorrow anything is different, because fortunate enough I could get right people to work with. We have a fantastic board. We have fantastic guys in our private equity part of the business. The relationship, they conceptually come in handy in terms of what leverage we can get from them, in terms of what deals we can do in the world of M&A, in terms of KKR being a global private equity fund. They have a lot of relationships in different sectors, hospital business, chemical business, FMCG business. So they come in handy in the banking business. So a lot of bankers that they enjoy, relationship that we enjoy, so we can get the information about the deals happening. So it has been a fantastic last 2.5 year journey with them, and good to have this type of guys in your fold in terms of who conceptually consider you as your colleagues.
I'm sure. And before I let you go, Mr. Chopra, how do you manage your work-life balance? Do you get time for yourself? And if you do, what do you do in your free time?
So various things. I basically I don't read books, but I read many things on my digital part of the piece, that is iPad. Getting to know what is happening outside pharmaceutical industry, in other industries. What is tomorrow the entire socio-economic conditions which are evolving in many parts of the world. Looking at overall what is happening in the banking part of US, where everybody has been talking that the way things are crazily in and out. So I like to know what is happening. So that is where I spend time watching TV. I am a big fan of sports, particularly cricket. So I don't miss any of the IPL matches. That is where I spend my time. I also look at in terms of getting to know within pharmaceutical sector what is happening. So it is not only health finished formulation, but also what is happening in the area of diagnosis, in the area of chemical business, in the area of hospital business. So you continue to enhance your business. Work-life balance, you basically should be enjoying at the workplace, looking at what more you can do at your workplace, and at least do the right things for the right purpose. That is how at least I spend my time.
Great. Mr. Chopra, it has been such a pleasure speaking to you. I'm sure, JB Pharma, the vision that it has created, or what you have created for JB Pharma for 2026, knowing the progress that you have made till date, I'm pretty sure that it will be a 5,000 crore company, inshallah. And thank you so much for taking out time to speak with us.
Thank you, Mr. Harbinder. Thank you.